Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Politics on Channels Television. I'm Millicent Walker. On the news this hour. Today, a federal high court in Abuja will give you judgment in the case seeking the removal of lawmakers who defected to other parties other than the ones they were elected on. With recent attacks and agitations across the country, the attention is focused on President Buhari and his strategies in ending insecurity in the country. And eyes are on the 9th National Assembly as the newly elected lawmakers will today end their induction program as the jostle for the leadership of the legislature thickens. Welcome everyone to the program. Now let's kick off the political bulletin this hour from the courtroom, where the fate of lawmakers who defected to other parties other than the ones they were elected in will be determined. Justice Kidnapping is the presiding judge and will be deciding on the case after it was stalled after the lawyer to the lawmakers filed an objection yesterday. The court is taking up the case today and may make a pronouncement that all lawmakers who defected in the National Assembly should lose their seat. The case was filed by the Legal Defense and Assistance Project led up on a non-governmental organization, but some lawmakers are challenging the jurisdiction of the court and the locus standi of the applicants, although the judgment in the case is expected to be delivered yesterday when the lawmakers filed an objection. They are challenging the jurisdiction of the court and validity of the suit. However, counsel to the plaintiff insists the objections are an attempt to arrest the judgment. Mr. Edeoko argued that the parties failed to appear throughout the duration of the case, so their coming to court at this time seemed to subvert justice. Well, over now to some security stories, especially in the northeast region of the country. It will be 5 years since over 200 schoolgirls were abducted from their hostels in Chibok, a town in Borno State. Some of the girls were rescued or released from the insurgents' custody. The United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, has called on the federal government as well as insurgents and other armed groups to end violations of children's rights and offer greater protection to school children. Ahead of the 5th anniversary of the abduction of the Chibok schoolgirls in Borno State on April the 14th, UNICEF in a statement revealed that over 3,500 children, mostly aged between 13 and 17, were recruited by non-state armed groups between 2013 and 2017. Rise Group, the Bring Back Our Girls movement, is staging rallies in some parts of the country to push for the total release of the girls that have been abducted by insurgents. We have our correspondent who's covering some of the rallies for us here in Lagos, but we'll go back to him in a short time. In the meantime, one of the girls in the insurgents' captivity, still in captivity, is Leah Sharibu, the 15-year-old schoolgirl at the time, kidnapped alongside 111 others by insurgents from their school in Dapchi, Yobe State, still very much in the news. The Senate has asked the federal government to do everything within its powers to secure the release of Leah, who is the only Dapchi schoolgirl still in captivity. The Senate's appeal follows a point of order by Senator Shehu Sani, drawing the attention of the federal government to the plight of the young girl. The federal government had negotiated the release of the other girls, but was unable to secure the release of Leah Sharibu, who was unwilling to denounce her Christian faith to regain her freedom.
It's over a year. They remain in captivity in the hands of the insurgents, and it's almost over 5 years since the abduction of the Chibok Girls. The abduction of Leah Sharibu and others have raised national and international concern on the need for the federal government and all Nigerians to put hands, hearts and heads together to work to secure her release. Her continuous detention in the hands of the captives should touch on the conscience of all Nigerians. The federal government must not be tired of exploring all possible means of reaching out to those who are holding her and others hostage to secure their freedom. Efforts have actually been made by the government, but it has not been able to provide the necessary result, and the civil groups have continuously applied pressure, and the media has kept her issue and that of others alive. I think it is important for us to understand and to know and to continue to take the advantage of the options of dialogue to see the possibility of getting her out of captivity.
Well, overall, the security situations across the country, the President, Muhammadu Buhari, appears not to be taking the issues lightly. At least that's how far we know from the outcome of the meeting he held with security chiefs. The President, after the meeting, gave marching orders to the security heads to find a solution to the lingering issue of banditry and kidnapping. They say President Buhari is particularly worried about the situation in Zamfara State, and the closed-door meeting might just be as important at this time than any other.
Meeting we've just had with Mr. President today is to review the strategy that we are adopting in confronting the security issues in Zamfara State especially, and other places nationwide. And this review strategy is to address all the issues including kidnapping, banditry, and other associated issues confronting the nation. And we are coming up with a revised strategy to handle those challenges. Yeah, the marching order is for us to deal with this issue immediately and ruthlessly and ensure that all those bandits are immediately dealt with, and all those issues that are bordering with our security are properly addressed.